Hello and welcome to Down the Slope. We're back second time in a week, only 48 hours since we last recorded, and I am joined by Harry and Greg. Harry, I assume you're good. Hibs on.
Mate, you getting the rules. If Hibs are one, Harry's a happy Heidi. So yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too
Good.
bad.
And actually finished up for Christmas as well, am I right?
Indeed, yeah. Like yesterday was my last day. Obviously, ended it with a Hibs win. So hopefully that's the changing of the tide. When I'm not working, Hibs are. So yeah, it makes good signs for Sunday.
Smashing. Greg, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, very well. Seem to have recovered from whatever I had last weekend, so ready to go for Sunday. Even whatever happens, it will be a good day out, and hope Harry has no more tears because I don't think I am ready for that.
Oh, good, very good point. Right, Dundee first. Last night we got back to winning ways at Easter Road, which was nice. First win at home for, was it September? First clean sheet in 11 games. We spoke on Monday, Harry, about how it would probably be important to get a clean sheet in a victory. Were you impressed with what you seen last night?
It's hard to say impressed. I think Dundee are a very poor team, but the fact that we managed to win it and not concede was good. Like in any game, the objective in the league especially is just to win and not concede a goal. So we ticked the boxes apart from the performance box, but there was phases in the game though where I thought we actually played some nice bits. There was one passage in particular in the second half where about 3 or 4 players were like involved in a really quick interchange. Nisbet done a really nice flick at one point. Like if we could keep doing things like that, and then after we scored the goal for about 10-15 minutes towards the end of the second half, we had so much energy and pace about us.
First half, sorry.
Pardon?
You mean first half, sorry.
First half, yeah, sorry. After we scored the goal, yeah, no, we looked really good. So if we can just keep that going, and the main thing is we just need to press against Celtic. Like, and we'll come into that in a bit. But I just felt at times, especially in the second half, as the time wore on, we just set deeper and deeper against a team we're so much better than. But yeah, no, overall, I'm just happy we actually got 3 points on the board at Easter Road and kept a clean sheet for the first time since like
August,
100 days ago.
Yeah, I am.
And the rest.
In fact, it was the first clean sheet since our last win at home. St Johnstone 1-0 with a penalty. So, I thought we were pretty good in the first half. I think we started well, probably tailed off a bit for, maybe say between that sort of 10-15 minute period prior to the goal, because what we scored around 35 minutes, I think I'm right in saying, circa that. I think probably 10-15 minutes leading up to that, the tempo had dropped a bit, but I think we picked it up again after the goal in the first half. The big thing for me, I felt like we got the ball. Criticism's been side to side, but I think if you go side to side with a purpose, with pace, I think a lot of times the centre halves missed out the fullback. Missed out the sort of left or right side of the free and went straight to the wing back, which I think is important. It keeps people moving. Greg, what did you make of the performance last night? Initially in the first half, at least.
I thought for the first 5 minutes we were good. We looked intense. We were going forward with a purpose. But after that, I just felt like we just settled in and got far too comfortable with playing 5-yard balls sideways. Obviously, it's difficult because obviously David Gray's not had a lot of time to work with the players. I wouldn't imagine that much has changed. You can see that. You can see that the players aren't really doing anything else that's new. So yeah, I felt like it was a bit of a poor game overall, but I think in the first half we certainly could have got the ball forward a bit quicker, a bit more purpose, a bit more energy, a bit more urgency about our play, I thought. But yeah, look, we get the goal. If I'm honest, I think that's on the way we were scoring last night. I don't think we were going to score goals last night. So
I think
thank you, Paul McMullen. What a finish that was.
I think if he doesn't intercept, and Nisbet's got 100 miles of space at the back post, you would expect him to score from there. Obviously, we don't know if he would have or not. He would have had enough time to manipulate it on his right foot, so I think he would have scored. But yeah, I guess, Harry, that especially in the first half, I know you mentioned the second as well, but I felt we were dominant, we were good, but we still maybe did look a little bit blunt in the final third. We're really good at 70-yard football. Like either side, like in between the two boxes, we're quite good.
Yeah, I thought defensively, particularly, the defence that started yesterday has been at times very shaky, but I thought that they looked entirely comfortable in the first half anyway. So it was nice to see them actually look confident. Porteous's distribution was a lot better than it's been in previous games, because the last couple of games in particular, he's been absolutely shocking. He was actually finding men and actually moving the ball forward, which was nice to see. I actually thought the formation change benefited the team. Especially in the second half, we actually looked like we were getting a few more chances, even though we didn't take any. We were actually creating chances more, which was nice. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we line up on Sunday, considering how the game was. I felt it was two very different games based on both formations.
Yeah, Greg, the obvious downside in the first half was Chris Cadden going off injured. David Gray did mention after the game that obviously it's early, but the good sign is he walked off and stuff. That probably quite a big miss if he wasn't available at the weekend, because I think we were likely to line up in 3-5-2, and he is probably the obvious choice to play there.
Yeah, I think if he's not fit, then it probably affects the shape a lot more. Unless you play Boyle out wide right and Doidge up front, but then again, you don't know if Nisbet's fit. So yeah, it's disappointing because I've been impressed with him lately. I think he's probably been one of the players that's actually been something of note and quite impressive in recent weeks. So I think that he's a good player. He's very tenacious. He can go in the tackle. He can put good balls in the box. That would be a massive miss for us, though, because I think defensively he is quite good as well, and Paul McGinn needs all the help he can get.
Yeah, Harry, at the start of the second half last night, you touched on it. It felt like we maybe were a bit deeper. I think Dundee definitely changed their shape, which we reacted to by going to a sort of flat 4-4-2, and then Nisbet's injury then dictated that we sort of went back to sort of 4-2-3-1, I guess, at that point, more than a 4-4-2. Was that the main frustration last night, that it did feel in the second half that we took it more as a game management almost, instead of trying to score more goals?
It just felt far too familiar to recent games where we've dropped points stupidly in the last 10 minutes. Because at the start of the half, even then, we were sitting slightly deeper, because if teams come out to attack you, they're going to have phases in the game, and fair play to teams that take at half time, they clearly put a rocket up their arse, because they did come out and they did try and actually attack us. They didn't have much impact doing it. And then towards the end of the game, obviously brought in two strikers for two midfielders, so they'd thrown everything by the end of the game. But we just need to try and hold a line at least 40 yards out, because for the last 5 minutes we were sitting on our own about 25 yards out, so teams are going to be able to get chances away if you just keep sitting deeper and deeper. I just want us to actually, even though we're winning, I want us to still control games, because as we showed, when we actually do go forward, we can create chances, because easiest chance in the world missed again by a certain someone who I'll let Greg take the wheel on, explaining our frustrations on him.
Greg, before we move on to what we done in the final third in the second half,
or didn't do as the case was.
We've been very critical of the defence, and rightly so. Now, I don't think
me more than others.
I don't think Dundee are world beaters by any stretch of the imagination, but I was actually quite impressed with how they wanted to play last night. I felt like they didn't go long too much, but they only had one chance. We limited them to one. They had one shot on target in the first half, which was a pop shot for 25 yards, and they had one chance, which came for a squaffed clearance.
Yeah.
That on the back of the St Mirren game as well, we do look a little bit more compact, ultimately, since Jack Ross has moved on. Would you agree with that?
It's quite difficult, because I don't think Dundee really utilised our wingers last night, and that's a big thing for us, where we can't defend crosses into the box. So, look, credit when it's due, you can only defend against the team you're playing. So ultimately, you've got a clean sheet. I don't think we were in really much danger. There was a couple of times where maybe possibly, but then the midfielders, Joe Newell bailed us out on one occasion where he got back and won the ball. So it's a real team effort defending. So I guess for me that was a positive point for the game last night. That was something that I've wanted to see for a while, is that real team effort and defending, because I think that sometimes the defence are possibly isolated, maybe don't help themselves, but I feel like sometimes you really need your midfield to work back and help them. But yeah, I mean, the Sclaff clearance is madness. I don't really know what he's doing, but there's been a couple of them this season. They happen, but yeah, I think we definitely got away with one there.
Yeah, and look, the best chance of the game fell to Hibs. I think, I'll be honest, I think Boyle can do better with the ball across. I don't think it's just from this angle I had in Nice. I don't think I think he's put it miles in front of Murphy, but I still think he can just let it come across his body and he can hit with his left instead of taking a touch on his right, and just makes a mess of it again. Harry, unfortunately, obviously he's missed 2 really good chances against Dundee this season. He missed obviously a couple of good chances at St Johnstone before getting his goal. It's like what we said earlier. I would have been confident in Nisbet scoring at the back post if it had come through him, but I wasn't confident when you seen it was Murphy coming in at the back post.
It's frustrating because at times he does show that he's got a lot of quality, but there's no point in having any form of quality if you don't have any end product at the end of it. Because a couple of months back, I was banging on about how technically he was the best player at the club, but I've regressed from that now, and it frustrates me when he gets on the pitch because I just know that he's going to do something that will madly frustrate me. Obviously, like the old adage is, if you get in the box and get yourself in good positions, you'll score eventually. But he does his very best to disprove that. I know he scored one against St Johnstone, but the boy should have about 6 or 7 goals this season minimum with the chances that he's had. And for a player that standard, with the wages that we're probably paying him being ridiculously high for the club, he frustrates the life out of me.
Aye, Greg, it's interesting. He's so obviously right-footed, and I can't really comment on Jamie Murphy's career before now. I don't know if he's always exclusively played on the left, but
yeah, he certainly did at Motherwell.
I don't know if he's used to have the pace that meant he could still get to the byline and sort of get it back onto his right foot. But when he does try to mix it up and go down the byline, he can't get any purchase on it with his left foot. Would there not be an argument to even at least try him on the right side? A little bit.
No, there would definitely be an argument to punt him in January, though. he actually, do you know what? He had 2 chances against. I think he had a couple of chances against St Johnstone. The one in the box where he's hit it on the half volley. I mean, behave like he's got acres of space and he puts it wide. He scores his chance because it felt him at the back post on his right foot. Well done, but it felt you at the back post on your left foot about 5 yards out, and you had to try and cut back on your right foot. It's pathetic. I mean, as a professional football player, really, it sounds so cliche, but surely should be able to use both feet. And it's so easy to read him as well. Like every man in that blind dug can see where he's going. He wants to cut inside. He doesn't want to go down the line because when he goes down the line, he can't get the ball across. So he must probably be one of the easiest players to defend against. Just show him down the line because he's not got a clue.
It's a weird one with Murphy, because he does so much that is good and he does so much that is shit.
Sorry, what good does he do?
Well, he got a very good. He never really got. Did he? He played a huge part in the goal at St Mirren, driving the length of the pitch, cutting inside, laying it into Boyle. You know what I mean? He scores the winner at St Johnstone. He is I don't buy into the fact that Jamie Murphy's a bad football player. I don't. I think Jamie Murphy's a good football player, but his goal return is nowhere near where it should be.
Jamie Murphy is not clever enough for the position he plays. There's my opinion. Because for me, if you're smart enough, you would go down the left and try and whip a ball in, but he doesn't do that a lot. He doesn't do that enough.
This is where I think I don't agree with that. I think he goes to the byline regularly, tries to cross it with his left foot, and it rolls to the edge of the 6-yard box and gets cleared easily. This is my. I think he does mix.
So are you saying that he's not good enough because he's not good enough cutting inside, and he's not good enough going on the outside? So
I think he's. I think Murphy's good enough to play for Hibs. I haven't said it, and I believe it. I think he's good enough to be a squad player for Hibs. We spoke about it after the St Johnstone game. I think he's in the exact same boat as Scott Allen. I think both players are capable of coming off the bench and creating a goal or scoring a goal. I don't think either of them are going to. I think, especially after January, I don't think either of them are going to do it even close to enough to demand.
I think Chris Miller's rubbing his hands. Chris Miller's rubbing his hands together because
I would agree.
Look at the joker that's got in his position.
I still think Jamie Murphy's got enough qualities that he can come off the bench and do well for Hibs. I think he was good when he came. I thought he was all right against St Mirren, to be honest. I thought when he came on against St Johnstone. He was all right. Last night, he didn't really do too much. Don't think it was really a game for him. I wouldn't have expected Jamie Murphy to come on last night if Nisbet didn't get injured. Like, it wasn't the way we were set up to play wasn't in that second half wasn't going to suit him. He should score like this. I'm not going to get.
I think he's a player that will come into the game and do okay if we're on the front foot.
Yep.
But if we're not on the front foot, then there's no point bringing him on because he's worse than a man down.
I agree. I don't
know how he's not scored last night. I really don't. And I think it's what age is he? 33? No, when I got his age, Liam. Don't worry, not in your absence. But at 33-year-old, you're more than experienced enough to use your left foot, surely.
Yeah, I think last night I do think he makes it more difficult for himself than he has to, because it's not too dissimilar from the chance he had at Dens when he's used his right foot, which is sort of meant it's put it in reach for the keeper. Yeah. But if he lets it run across his body, then he can sort of slot it to a place the goalkeeper can't get it to. Look, anyway, actually, one thing I wanted to get both your thoughts on. I felt like Dundee were probably starting to really, really control the game in that sort of spell just before Gogic came on. And I did think the midfield were tiring, but I thought Gogic done well in the sort of final 10 minutes when he came on. He broke up a few attacks and they actually done pretty well at stopping them at source as well, sort of in Dundee's half and ultimately doing what he's supposed to do, giving the ball to other people. Not like breaking up and I thought Gogic done well last night, and I felt like that was a game for him to come in, and I thought he'd done a good job. I thought Jake Doyle, Hayes and Newell were both tiring, as was Campbell, and I thought it was a good sub by David Gray at the time. What were your thoughts on that?
I'll hop in before Greg, because I'm not sure we'll have the same opinion. I was actually going to mention I thought Gogic was actually very good at what he'd done when he came on. Like, if he was to do that every time he was on the pitch, because the main frustration we have with Gogic isn't his ability to break up or read play, it's his inability to make the simple passes. But every time, I don't believe he lost the ball yesterday. Every time he got on it, he actually just found someone that was within 10 yards of him, which is perfect. If you can find someone in the team and doesn't immediately put Hibs under pressure, as well as doing what he's supposed to do defensively, then he would actually be a very vital asset at the club. But he needs to do that on a more consistent basis. That's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I'm not going to trail too far away for that. Might sound very Roy Keane, but thanks for doing your job. I think he had one spell where I think he was actually chasing the ball out our half, which was good. A wee bit good pressing there, because we don't seem to press at all. So I like that from him. But look, he came on and
I think he's got his part to play.
He'd done his job, because we were sitting that far back that we're now committed to that. So there's not really a lot of movement. You can't all of a sudden decide you want to just pile bodies forward, because, like you say,
Allen on and
well, we were tiring, and yeah. I mean, I wanted to bring up the Man of the Match award last night.
I was just going to bring that up, because for me, Harry, I thought that old man, that excessively old man that should have been sold years ago, Lewis Stevenson at the young age of 33 was very, 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 very good again last night. I think it was 100% aerial battles won, 100% of duels won, 84% passing accuracy. Like Liam said, to reference Liam while he's not here, Death Taxi.
I know exactly what Harry's going to say, and he's going to play the victim, and he's going to say he didn't mean anything by the comments.
And Liam absolutely mugged me off, and I was like, okay, no worries, I'll move on. And then Liam doubled in, mugged me off again, and then I was like, all right, sorry. And then he tripled in. I was like, leave me alone. But yeah, no, Stevenson was very good last night. But I thought Boyle looked the best he'd played, certainly since the final.
Especially in the first half.
I thought Boyle was really good last night, and that, like, for some reason they weren't double teaming him for the first 15 minutes, so he was absolutely melting them down that right hand side. If he can be, because that's the thing that I think might be a strength this weekend, because Boyle 1-on-1. But anyway, I keep talking about the game at the weekend because I might be a bit excited for it. But yeah, I would have given it to Martin Boyle myself.
Well, anyway, Greg, so you disagreed with Joe Newell getting man of the match.
I mean, me and my granddad were talking about it on the way home last night, which I absolutely loved, because being at the football means you can have chats with people that you go to the football with. And he was saying, he done well, but he didn't really do a lot. Like, he done okay. I think he probably done the bare minimum. But for me, Lewis Stevens went on a couple of slack passes. He reads the game so well. He gets the boot in. He's hard on the tackle. He's aggressive. He can go forward. So I think for me, he probably offered us a bit more last night. I think the change of shape probably hindered him a wee bit, but I think that he was good again last night.
I think there's an argument to say Lewis Stevenson's been our most consistent performer this season when he's played.
I think even last season when he came into the squad, like for the few games, he's still very consistent. Yeah. I know I've gone on and said about bare minimum a lot, but to be honest, if you're consistently decent, then that's better than and down.
That's it. Like you there's a certain standard that if 8, 9, 10 of your team meet each week, then you're going to win a lot of games in this league. And I think last night that was the case. I don't think anyone was spectacular. I don't think anyone was bad. I thought everyone was decent, and that's what we got. We got a decent win at home, and a win that I think was deserved. Right.
Just to touch on that, so the frustrating thing for me is that their centre half got booked after
and
5 minutes.
Got booked about 2 minutes later.
Yeah, so for the same tackle, but surely you target these people if they're on a booking, and I think I don't even know what he got sent off for. I think
they took like
because the boy took the throw in wrong like
4
a couple of times. Which, to be honest, credit to the ref for that, because you don't actually see that a lot. You don't really see the ref be like,
unless you're John Beaton, you didn't even get a warning and you get a booking.
Yeah, well, I mean, John Beaton. We'll see him on Sunday, which is probably a nice transition into the next segment.
I've got before we get on, we're going to focus on the final, the full at the end. But the big news before the game yesterday, it appears that Shaun Maloney is going to be the new manager. I know probably none of us are that keen on the assistant of choice, but I think it's fairly irrelevant if I'm honest. We did briefly touch on Shaun Maloney on Monday night when we were speaking about all the candidates, and just before we get into Maloney, I think it's worth applauding Liam for his real push on Twitter for say the guy's name, because I don't.
I think I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's like Knutson or something.
Knutson.
I'm not even gonna attempt the first name. Was it like Kjetil Knutson?
Kjetil Knutson.
Kjetil Knutson.
So fair play to Liam for driving a full narrative to the extent where it just shows the lack of betting on managers away. I think probably about 4 or 5 people put a tenner on it, and he went into fucking second favourite, having not even had a price about an hour earlier. But no,
see, like previously with betting, I'm like, the bookies obviously the bookies always know something. Well, Liam had them on strings yesterday.
I had it. It looks like it's going to be Shaun Maloney. What's your thoughts on that? Assisted by Gary Caldwell, probably David Gray still as the sort of first team coach.
Short corners are going to be amazing. If what I remember about Shaun Maloney is correct. The only fear I do have is, as Liam touched on, he's a very good coach, but it just kind of strikes me as the Arteta Arsenal. So I think for him to kind of get his groove at Hibs, it might take a while, because he seems like he'll have a philosophy that he wants to instill. And as I've said, I don't think that Hibs fans are very patient. So I'm happy to give him time, but whether or not the rest of the fan base are happy to give him time is a different question. So I hope that he can start winning early is the main thing, because if he doesn't, then he'll have an absolute mob behind him already.
In all likelihood, his first games are going to be Aberdeen at home, Dundee United away, Celtic away, Hearts at home.
Rough, mate.
See, for me, I think it's all very relative. Shaun Maloney works with some of the best players in the world. And seems to
work with more of the best
Alex Gogic and Jamie Murphy. So yeah, I mean, I think that look, he's obviously a good coach. He's not just the guy that puts the cones out. I think he probably needs a strong assistant. I think more the good cop, bad cop routine, because I don't think Shaun Maloney is going to be the type of manager to scream and shout. But I think it's an appointment.
Greg, just to get a wee snapshot here that we can maybe refer back to in 6 months' time. Are you okay with Shaun Maloney not screaming and shouting on the touchline?
Yeah, as long as the number 2 that isn't Gary Caldwell screams and shouts. Look. To be honest, I mean, I guess we can have a go at Gary Caldwell's record, but he has managed some decent clubs. I think he was last at Newcastle under 23s, managing them for a while. He's obviously been at Wigan, so
got promotion at Wigan, didn't
he? Yeah, so he's been about, I think, other than Partick Thistle, but I mean, Ian McCall was a good manager in the Championship, and they got relegated with him. So maybe Partick Thistle a bit like Nottingham Forest, as we discussed last night, in a very difficult atmosphere.
If you ask Gary Caldwell, he was just too good to manage players of the level of Partick. He's more suited to coaching players at Hibs level.
Yeah, I don't want to see anyone go to SAS training. I think that was his style. He took them to SAS training.
Is that too hardcore even for you, Greg?
Well, I don't really see the need for it. You know, you're football players. You know what I mean? You play football. You don't go to murder folk or whatever. So, you know, I think maybe just a couple of laps from East Mains will do. Like maybe no SAS training, maybe be a salt course with tyres or whatever in pre-season. But I just But look, it's a left field appointment. It's something that I'm actually quite excited about, though. Yeah. I think Hibs aren't just going for the safe option. You know, we could have gone comfy and gone for McInnes or whatever. So I think that we are trying to push about, which I respect and I can get on board with. Mm-hmm. It was quite an exciting prospect, to be fair. But that is just my opinion. Feel free to refer back to that when I'm calling him shite, and basically same as Tam Coates, who just carries the balls about in the cones. So you can refer back to that in about
month's
6 months. A month's time. When we've wasted Boxing Day going to Dundee or whatever. You can refer back to it then.
I think it's an interesting one anyway, and it really is.
Yeah, I think so.
And look, none of us can sit and say this is how Shaun Maloney wants to play or anything, but from memories of him as a player, from the team that he's been involved in, you would think that we're going to want to play it on the deck, be on the front foot, you know, whether he wants to set up a high press or not, like that, you'd be guessing at that point. But you would ultimately, the way he played as a player and the managers he worked under, he's probably going to have similar visions. I mean, you look at Roberto Martinez team at Everton, at Wigan, was he at Swansea as well? They all dominated the ball.
Yeah.
So that's his main experiences. So I'd expect there to be a want for Hibs to do that.
But I think it's something that we all kind of want to see. I think the football under Jack Ross was really boring at times.
The only thing that I would caveat that with,
you also need to win games of football.
Why that? But with keeping possession comes, one, a risk of playing out from the back, that you will sometimes concede goals that look fucking dreadful. But two, there will be a lot of passing that about, like into Joe Newell, who plays it back to Ryan Porteous, who plays it to Paul Hatt, because you have to be patient. You know, that's that style of football. You're probing and you're trying to be patient. Like there was a discussion on TalkSport the other night about our Man City board to watch.
Who was having that discussion?
I think they were just opening it up to people to phone in and stuff. And
listen.
Because
see if Jamie O'Hara was talking.
It was just fans.
Nobody.
No, some tube called Something Jordan said that Kieran Tierney could maybe captain of Scotland, captain of Arsenal, because Scotland's full of losers. It's like Scotland have won that same in Kieran Tierney's lifetime as England.
Was Simon Jordan not the one that said that England under 21s would beat Scotland?
Boys, an absolute
good one.
Anyway, back to what I was saying. They were just talking. For me, like even like Pep's Barcelona team and stuff, at times they would pass teams to death and beat them 1-0, 2-0, and like I think if you're a fan of that team, it probably would be entertaining. But as a neutral, I didn't watch Man City games. It doesn't. There's no real fast flowing pace to it. So I do think that relating that back to Hibs is we've even seen at times this season, probably even last night, people going, "Why are we just knocking this about? Get it forward, get it into the channels, etc." Again, we're guessing right now, but looking at the people he's worked with, I would assume that's going to be his style of play. So there might be an adjustment period there for fans as well.
I think there's also a point that needs to be made where it's sometimes if you knock it about from side to side, you've got no purpose doing it.
Yeah.
If you knock it about side to side with a bit of purpose and try and move players out of position, then pick holes, I'm all for that. What I'm not for is Johnny and Jake Doyle-Hayes playing 1-2s with each other all night, because that is shit. That is exactly what happened last week at Livy, where they were so happy to pick the ball up and then just knock it back the way. See if you pass the ball out with urgency, with a purpose, and try and pick holes in teams. Mate, sign me up, but don't sign me up for just tippy-tappy 1-2s all night, because that is boring.
Well, look, obviously it's not official, but it does seem like it's going to come Thursday or Friday, and it's been sort of confirmed today, not by the club, unless it has been through a club media interview that's not been released yet, but all the sort of media outlets are reporting that Jack Ross will be in charge for
No, he won't.
Jack Ross. Fuck, David Gray will be in charge on Sunday. Sorry, David Gray will be in charge on Sunday.
The host doesn't even have a clue.
What are your thoughts on? He's happy enough with David Gray staying in charge?
It doesn't really matter. I said it the other night. To be honest, it doesn't matter. Like, do you know what? It's going to be the same as what we've seen, I think. So it doesn't really matter.
I actually think it's probably a good thing. I think because if Maloney came in and say he was appointed, I don't know, tomorrow morning, he gets Thursday, Friday, maybe a small session on Saturday. What can he do at that point? Like at least this gives the consistency and approach from David Gray, Eddie May, Craig Sampson with the goalkeepers. Like they'll have started working on things today, I'd assume, and that will firmly stay in place. Harry, would you have rather seen a new manager in the dugout on Sunday, or happy enough with David Gray?
No, I think if it was to be a new manager, they would have to at least like a couple of weeks. I don't think. And the thing is as well, you don't want your first ever game as a manager to be a defeat in a cup final. Obviously, touch wood, it wouldn't be. But if you get off to the wrong start, then it can be a difficult journey back.
Yep. Hey, well,
and I think just another point, obviously, in the semi-final, Rangers had Van Stolchhorst appointed, and he didn't go in the change room at half time. And I would not want Shaun Maloney to go in the change room at half time either.
And it's one of them. If we win on Sunday,
because it's not his team, and he wouldn't have started. So yeah.
If we win on Sunday, people are going to go master stroke for Hibs sacking Jack Ross and like keeping David Gray in, and Maloney comes in next week. If we get beat, it'll be a really bad hangover on Monday, and listening to all the cunts on Sports Sound and all the other things saying, why did they sack Jack Ross 10 days before the hang? Why did they not get Maloney in when if they knew he was coming in? Why did they not get him in? A fresh face, blah blah blah. Like,
because these aren't football people. These aren't football people. They're presenters.
No, they are. No, if you ask, but then if you
Jonathan Sutherland's not a football person. No, Stephen Thompson's not a football person. Michael Stewart's not a football person. So let's get that right.
Neither's Kevin Thompson.
He's just a rat.
Right, look, we're here to preview.
Aye, but he played for free, Harry. Give him a break.
Right, we're here to preview the League Cup final anyway. We've spoken about the league action. League action is part. I was going to say for a week, but we've got another fucking league game next Wednesday. So expectations for the weekend, and then we're also going to go on to a little segment where we talk through our memories of the League Cup. We done something similar before the Scottish Cup final, and it was pretty well received. So we'll do it around different memories that we all have with the League Cup. Not necessarily a final, just the League Cup in general. But yeah, Harry, what are you expecting on Sunday other than a good laugh and plenty of bevy?
Mate, as I've said before the finals before, I just want a performance that afterwards I can be like, you know what, they gave it their all. Result at the end of the day obviously matters, because if you win, you get the cup. But if we go out there and we get beat 4-3 and we've had the day of our lives because Hibs have put on a performance and made us proud, then I genuinely wouldn't complain. I want to see us pressing from the start, and I want to see us put all our legs into this game and press until the end. The only way you're going to beat Celtic, this Celtic team in particular with Postecoglou as manager, is by getting in their face and trying to do to them what they're trying to do to you. It's not a very feasible thing, and it is a very difficult task, because as much as we hate to admit, Celtic are looking very good at the moment. But they've got a couple of injuries, so
I'm not convinced, if I'm honest.
No, yeah. I think they look a lot closer to the team at the start of the season that was getting beat with the injuries they've got. So I think we've got.
No, I'm not convinced.
I'm not convinced about the injuries.
I'm not convinced with them being that good. I think they're all right.
I think they're good, but I'm not convinced about the injuries, to be honest.
If the injuries stay the way they are, then I think they're more than beatable. I'm not going to shite myself that's for a team that's playing a front three that two of them's going to be fucking David Turnbull and fucking Mikey Johnston. Like, Celtic are a good team. Don't get me. I'm not denying that. In fact, they're a very good team. But Celtic are flying. Celtic are this. Celtic. They're 4 points behind Rangers, and we just fucking scudded Rangers in the semi-final. Like, so, like, you know what I mean? We're capable of doing it. We're on a bad run of form, but I'm sorry. They just beat Motherwell 1-0 at home. Like,
we drew 1-1 with Motherwell at home.
But they're not going out. Like, some people have got this idea that Celtic under Postecoglou are the second coming of Pep's Barca, man. Like, they got put out of the Europa League group. Like, Hearts beat them at the start of the season. They scraped past Motherwell. Like, I don't think they're that. They're not at that level yet where I'm completely shiting myself for them. They're just.
I disagree, but I don't want this to become into a Celtic shagging podcast, so I'm not going to give my opinions on that. But I'm glad that you think that, yeah.
And I tell you what, just coming on to that, right? Anthony Brown of the Evening News today tweeted something about Hibs having, I think it's 6 managers out of 12 for Celtic, as if that makes any blind bit of difference. Like six of the last 12 Hibs managers have played for Celtic at some point, like as if anyone actually cares. So that lazy journalism, slow news day. Anyway,
we're talking about our opponents here. Let me just run you through what started for them against Motherwell.
Can I give my opinion first before you start rattling it with shitey stats?
Right,
I think Celtic are a good side. I think that they have the potential to rip teams apart. I don't think they've done it a lot this season. They are vulnerable at the back though, so I think they can be got at. I'm not concerned because I don't think you should ever be worried about going into a final against one of the old firm, because there is really no need to be worried. I think if we have Cadden Nisbet fit, then I don't see why we can't, because we've literally scudded Rangers in the semi-final when we expected nada. So I don't see why we can't. And I think it would be Pete Gibbs to go and win it.
It'd be fucking fantastic is what it would be. I think I think from a Hibs point of view, ideally, I think David Gray would start the team that played last night. And it started last night. I think that would be his first choice 11. And obviously, we mentioned Celtic have injury concerns, but now we do have a few of our own. I noticed Josh Doig wasn't in the squad at all last night. McGregor not in the squad.
Josh Doig had to do a COVID test before the game yesterday. It came back negative, so should be back for the final.
All right, okay. So I noticed
that's why Harry's a journalist, and we just sit here and chat.
I noticed McGregor wasn't in the squad. Obviously, Nisbet and Cadden went off injured as well, and I think they are two players that dictate what shapes we can and can't play, really, because the worst case scenario obviously is if they're both out. But what would be the biggest worry for that is, for me, is we know Christian Doidge can't play up front on his own. He's not mobile enough, but if they're both out, then you can't play 3-5-2, because you'd either need to have Boyle either up front or on the wing. So I really, really hope that they're both fit. But then I would be more worried if Nisbet isn't fit than Cadden. I would personally. I know people will say what they want about Nisbet, but I think he's crucial to the way we play. Again, I thought he was better again last night. I think he's in a decent running form. Definitely should have bagged a couple more goals in recent games than he has still, but he is looking more like the player that we know he can be. And whether people like it or not, these players know what it takes to win at Hampden. I would expect the game to be not too dissimilar from the Rangers game, in the sense that Celtic will dominate the ball. I think we will give up the ball, but there's a way to do that, like what you're saying, Harry, pressing them, being compact at the back, putting them under pressure on the ball, not letting them knock it about easy, not letting them do what we did allow them to do at Easter Road. Because when you look at the Celtic game, and then the very next game we played was Rangers, two very similar games in terms of, if you like, territory, but the way we got at Rangers as opposed to the way we got at Celtic that night at Easter Road were night and day. And if we can replicate what we did against Rangers, then I see no reason why we can't win. Celtic are on good form, but they scraped past Hearts at home. They scraped past Aberdeen at home. They scraped past Motherwell at home. Like, I don't think they're as good as what people are making them out to be. I really, okay, Dundee United away, they looked good. But Dundee United are on a terrible run of form. Like, I'm like, one goal at home at Hearts, one goal at home in Motherwell. It's not making me sit here shiting myself. And maybe it is because it's a Celtic or Rangers final, and maybe we're not playing a team that we'd expected to win. I think this is the type of game that suits us. I think generally as a squad, we're set up to be a good counter-attacking squad. So I'm quite excited and hope we can go out and give a performance that...
I can't wait for that to be changed. I can't wait for us to not just be a counter-attacking team, because that's shit.
I don't think it's just our counter-attacking. I think we're capable of dominating the ball, but I do think our main strengths are hitting teams on the counter-attack, ultimately driven. But I think when you've got someone as fast as Boyle, you're always going to be a massive threat on that in that transition.
Yeah. No, I get it, but I just think that Hibs play self-entitlement again, but I think that we want to be on the front foot and bossing games no matter what. Yep. But there we go, Shaun. That's up to yourself, brother.
Harry, ultimately, what do you expect to see from a Hibs point of view? Like, I know you've said you want to see us get on the front foot and stuff. Do you think we will manage that?
I think injuries pending. I think it'll be as close a team that started against Rangers as possible. I think it'll be more of a 3-5-2 system, as opposed to a 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1. I would expect to see three at the back, as you say, try and keep it compact whenever they're on the ball. Apart from St Johnstone, I think since Ross took over, I think we've looked very good at Hampden. I think that for some reason we seem to suit ourselves on bigger pitches. For the most part, when we've played away at Ibrox or Celtic Park, we've actually put in good performances. So for some reason, big pitches suit us. We do need to get at them offensively, as Greg touched on. Their defence, even though they've got the best record in Scottish football, they always look flimsy. And the good thing is, we don't like John Beaton, but he does like giving a penalty against Celtic. And they've had a few clangers not being given, like a Dundee United one earlier in the season. The Motherwell one on Tony Watt was an absolute stonewaller. So Celtic have been riding their luck. So Hibs better be cashing in on that. You know what I'm saying?
I actually don't even want to consider the thought of us getting a penalty at the weekend.
Shut up.
The main thing is we just need to give it all. Just need to I want every player to be like limping off the pitch, shattered after giving it their all. Win, lose or draw, or win, lose or penalties, whatever. As long as we've done that, I honestly could not care about the result.
Greg, on the assumption everyone's fit, who do you think for Hibs to lift the trophy on Sunday night? Who do you think needs to be the 2 or 3 standout players who really needs to be on it and the difference makers for us, either attacking or defensive?
I think the 2 wing backs are huge. And on top of that, I think Newell, Nisbet and Boyle need to be right on it. I think the only way you're going to really have a chance is if your strikers are right on form and giving it everything. So I think one of those 5 would be crucial.
Yeah.
But I think certainly defensively we need to be clever. Obviously the 2 centre halves, I mean, everyone's going to be crucial, but I think especially on the wings, because Celtic are quite dangerous on the wings, and so I don't know. I just hope everyone has a good game, and I just want effort, to be honest, effort and a bit of desire, because we obviously lacked that a lot against St Johnstone in the Scottish Cup final. So I want to see a lot of effort. I want to see a lot of desire. I want to see us be quite aggressive as well, because I feel like sometimes we aren't as aggressive. So look, Celtic are unbeatable. They've proven that this season. So I think that if we can get at them, get in their face, they probably won't like that. So, but yeah, it's just everyone just needs to have a good game, especially the goalie, who I'm not convinced with at all. But
what about yourself, Harry? If you were to sort of pinpoint either position or players, who do you think needs to be right at the top of their game for us to lift that trophy?
It's only one man. It's got to be Martin Boyle. Martin Boyle's got to produce what we know Martin Boyle can produce. He's done it against Celtic before, so if he can do it again, then we'll be blessed. We also really need, because as much as I love him, Ryan Porteous is prone to a clanger in games like this, in my opinion. The one against Rangers being, like, I know we were 3-0 up at the time, but mistakes like that, you can blame it on Macy if you want. I think it was on Porteous. We can't afford any, like, if they score a wonderful goal, fair play, but we can't afford to give them anything, because if we do, we're just going to shoot ourselves in the foot.
Yep. I find that the three for me that stand out: Nisbet, Hanlon, and Porteous. I think you've got to be. Look, I'll be honest. I think we need goals to. I was going to say something really stupid there. I think we need multiple goals to win this game. I don't see us winning 1-0. So I think for that you need your strikers to be ready to take whatever chance comes their way. I don't think we're going to create a barrel load. No, we didn't create a barrel load against Rangers. We probably haven't had a performance, maybe other than St Johnstone away, where we have created lots and lots of chances. So I think Nisbet especially has to be ready to pounce on anything that comes his way. And Hanlon and Porteous need to perform like they did against Rangers. Again, they were outstanding. I would echo what Harry says. I feel like probably since he got, at least since we came back from the COVID break, Porteous seems to be going out his way to get other players booked as well. I think he's doing a lot of, is play acting the right word? I don't know. But emphasising contact when it's made, shall we say. And rightly or wrongly, other teams do it, but just focus on the 90 minutes or the 120 minutes, whatever it is. Focus on winning your battle against whoever Celtic have down the middle of the park. And if the defence can play well, then I think we win the game. I genuinely do. I think we are generally. I believe it's a game that suits us. I do. Like Harry says, we generally have performed well playing 3-5-2 on bigger pitches. I think it works well because it gives Doig, and whether it be Cadden or Boyle, the space in the, like when you've got a wee tight park, you play 3-5-2, the wingers haven't got any space at all anyway. It almost defeats the point. So I think Hampden should suit that, and my confidence has grown as the weeks progressed. I know Liam said what did he say? 1-0 Hibs, 2-1 Hibs? I can't remember.
No, he said penalties. He said 1-1 penalties.
And then Hibs went on and then 1-0 on penalties. So if we were to go for a score prediction and then just a day out prediction from both of you, please. What were you going for?
Day out will be 10 out of 10.
Hey, there we go. What about the score, Greg?
Hey, 2-1 Hibs. I'll go, surely.
For the memes, that would be the most beautiful thing ever.
That would be incredible.
But, Hibs deal our business in very inconsistent ways. But this time, we're going to stick consistent and we're going to win it 3-2. 3-2 Hibs.
Day out, Harry?
Mate, it's going to be at least a 12 out of 10. If the semi-final's anything to go off, at least a 12 out of 10.
I'm going for day out first, and I've got a few predictions. Harry crying by 3:15.
You better know me.
Harry crying by 3:15. Me hit the whitey before we leave the bar.
Yeah.
Greg to call every Celtic fan he sees a silly cunt on the way to the ground, and Liam to just be standing there looking at us all like the reprobates that we generally are. And then on the pitch, I'm going 3-1 Hibs.
2 goals.
Whoa.
Postecoglou shaking in his boots.
Would take it.
3-1 Hibs.
Mate,
I think Hibs go 2 goals up in the first half. Celtic score. It's the fucking Alamo. It's the Alamo for the second half. And then we pick them off late on, 3-1. Someone loses the heat for Celtic. John Beaton sprints over to whap a red card in their face. Gets his Rangers top.
We don't have to give every scorer, but who's going to get the winner? Who's nabbing the winner? The final goal in your case, Shaun.
Final goal for me.
I've got a bad feeling it's going to be Handler, and I know. And do you know what? See what happens.
That'd be so good.
I will celebrate. Thanks for having one good game.
I'm good. Well, we do a dream scenario and maybe one that we actually think will happen. I think that in my head, the late winner will be Kevin Nisbet. In fact, no, because I think he'll be off the pitch. Christian Deutsch will get the late winner with a sort of header at the back post at South. Like Boyle will go running down the wing and he'll just be free. And the dream scenario for me is that Lewis Stevenson scores in there. I think that would be unbelievable. If Lewis Stevenson could score the second goal in a 3-1, so technically the winning goal, Lewis Stevenson Raker coming in for the left wing back comes to him, he just fucking smashes it, and oh wow, dreams. What about yours?
Greg, you already gave us who's your dream goal scorer?
Boy, Jake Doyle Hayes, to be honest, since he's a fan of the show and a close friend of the show.
Harry.
That's a difficult one. So dream scenario, I love storylines, so I love the comeback story. I would love either Papa Gogic or Dre Wright to score the winner. I just think that would be absolutely hilarious. Those two, like,
I was going to say James Scott. One goal only.
Oh, mate,
Jamie Murphy on his left foot.
Jamie Murphy not actually scuffing a shot.
No, he scuffs it. He still scuffs it, and it just dribbles in.
Realistically, I think Boyle got a brace in the final. Might actually stick a cheeky wee fiver on it just cause. I know.
2-1 Hibs. Boyle first and last goal scorer.
I said 3-2.
Oh, 3-2. Sorry, it was Greg said.
Hibs ladies have just gone 2-0 up.
Superb.
I think it's Siobhan Hunter that scored.
Some woman.
So. And then, we've got a wee segment here. We touched on it earlier. We done it before the Scottish Cup final, but did we all do memories of the 2016 game? I think we did.
We did.
This one we're going to change up a little bit, mainly because the last time we won the League Cup, I was 10. Harry, you'd have been 9. Greg, you'd have been about 18. Nah, but. Greg,
I was expecting you to say something like 30, to be honest, so I'll take that.
Greg, you set us off with your best or favourite League Cup memory.
Go to the toilet in Tynecastle when David Murphy scored the free kick in extra time. Because I was told, my granddad said, if you'll miss a goal if you go to the toilet, and I was like, nah, I'll be all right. I went to the toilet and missed a goal. So. Is
that the full story?
That's pretty much it, aye. I remember I had English homework to do that night as well, so I got home late and had to do that. That was bad.
Is that not the same game that Benji scored to make it 3-1?
Yeah. And then I think, was it Simon Benson?
The centre half
shoved him in the back and just licked him. Like,
oh, good.
What the fuck are you doing?
That was some night, to be fair. We were pretty bad that night, to be honest.
Oh, aye. That was not great. That was not.
Yeah. Was it Jason Scott that scored for St Johnstone? He loves scoring against us.
Oh,
and I remember there must have been an interview with, I don't know if it was maybe after he scored the winning penalty in the playoffs game for Hamilton. And he said something that, like, he knew he was going to score that night, and then he also referenced the playoff because apparently Petrie, because he had scored the winner for Dundee United against us, I think, in the Scottish Cup semi-final in 2005. And apparently he believes that Rod Petrie, because of his position on the SFA board at the time, he was part of the panel that rejected his work permit. So he couldn't sign for Dundee United permanently, I think, which is how he ended up at St Johnstone in the Championship, because he didn't need a work permit for that or something. And so he's held a grudge against Hibs forever and a day.
Because he scored against us for Dundee United at Hampden as well.
That's what I'm saying. And then it was like a month later that his work permit got rejected. Yeah. So he says that he believes it's all because of that, which it's obviously unfounded, but it wouldn't surprise me. Harry, your favourite League Cup memory?
Well, being obviously there's been actually a few classics for this, but the main one for me was just about last month. Start of this month, I don't remember the date for it, but that semi-final against Rangers, like, that automatically went in my top 3 Hibs games of all time. It was just such a brilliant day. I mean, it's the first time we ever ran a bus as a podcast, which was really awesome. The guys that listened to us every week and interact with us on Twitter, actually getting to see them in person was amazing. The atmosphere in the pub beforehand, it was literally seeing Greg go daft as usual, seeing Ewan in his element having a drink, and then it was the most out of his shell I've ever seen Liam, and it was just such a happy occasion. Everybody there was just in such good spirits. I remember walking into the stadium and I was like to my mates, I was like, here, if we go out there and we get beat 4-0, at least this day's a 9 out of 10 because I've had a magic time.
We lost during the way of the game, didn't we, actually?
Yeah.
We
stayed to get shots, so by the time we'd done the shots, you were already halfway up. And then obviously what happened on the pitch was just unbelievable. Being 3-0 up against Rangers in any game is unreal. Doing it at Hampden, absolutely mental. And then
having to pull Harry out between the seats was a personal highlight of mine.
Oh, mate, so first goal, someone knocks my specs off, so some guy 2 rows in front has to bend and pick my specs up, hand them back to me. Second row, Greg tries to grab me, Craig tries to grab me, then I get slammed on the seat in front instead of getting hugged, and then the third goal I just started greeting. It was such an experience.
Third goal was just pure disbelief.
Oh, honestly, I could not believe what was going on. It was so good. And then, one of the most surreal moments as a Hibs fan for me, at the full-time whistle, like, when we're doing Boils on Fire, like, that is, like, how people say scenes or limbs, like, that is the most scenes or limbs I've actually witnessed in person. Like, we were all just going absolutely mental. And it was all thanks to Martin Boyle. What a gentleman. What a day.
It was someday.
You enjoy yourself, Harry.
Just a wee bit. Just a wee bit.
Well, more of that to come on Sunday. Fingers fucking crossed. So, mine's is, I guess, the obvious that isn't already been spoken about. The last time we lifted the League Cup final. Like I said, what was that? So I'd have been 10, just not long turned 10 years old. And I actually got sent a picture from before the game just the other day. I think I shared it with you guys. And there's 10-year-old me just sitting, sipping my iron brew and very vividly calling someone a wanker. The person that's getting targeted with the abuse from 10-year-old me is not in the picture. I'm going to hazard a guess and say it was my father. But it could be anyone. But no, I think there'll be much harder things consumed prior to the game on Sunday, and it'll probably be needed. But I think at the age of 10 years old, going to Hampden and pumping someone 5-1, I'd obviously seen Hibs get beat multiple times prior to that. Celtic Cup final, Livy Cup finals, Dundee United, like we mentioned earlier.
Dunfermline semi-finals before that, I think.
No, Dunfermline was just after it.
Okay.
Dunfermline was just after it.
Yeah.
And I think what it done was set you up, probably speak on behalf of all three of us here actually, set you up for a lifetime of disappointment because you think this must happen all the time.
I'd already witnessed the cup final against Livy. That was really bad.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but I think at the age, so what age would I have been? Livy one 6, so don't remember too much. So I'd seen Hibs losing 2 cup finals prior to that. The Celtic one in 2001, which is probably my main, my only memory of that game. Similar to what you're saying about Harry having to pull him out between chairs. Obviously, everyone's standing and stuff at Hampden. So 3-4-year-old me standing on the chair, and then the chair just gees way, and my body, like half my body, is just like stuck between the chair, and my mum and dad have to fucking drag me through. But no, that it's probably the first vivid memories I've got at Hampden, and you start to think, oh well, this will happen all the time, and ultimately it was another 9 years until we won at Hampden again. So hopefully this weekend we can win it again. And what I've realised is Hibs have won a trophy every sort of 10 years of my life. So like 0 to 10, I had the League Cup final as I was 10, then 11 to 20, I just met the Scottish Cup. So if we can get the 20s to 30s category out the way nice and early, that'd be fantastic. But no, look, I think we're all very much looking forward to the game on Sunday, and I was going to say quietly optimistic. It's been a while since we hit that one out, but I guess you can't be quiet when you're voicing your.
No, it's quietly confident, Ewan.
Quietly confident. Yeah. Sorry, quietly confident.
Just before we wrap up, I've one question for you both. On that 5-1 victory, before it was cool. Anybody else that won 5-1 in the cup final after that's just an absolute loser. But in that 5-1 where it was cool to do it, what was your favourite moment from that game? Because even though we were young, I can still remember that day quite vividly.
I have one that's a bit obscure. I remember I was with my dad, and I just remember him texting my stepmom, who is a Jambo, and saying, and the text said, and this was in the days when you had to like click on every letter and stuff.
Oh, God,
You had like a wee sort of Sony Ericsson Walkman flip phone, and I remember the text he was sending. It was either the third and fourth goal or the fourth and fifth goal, and he was texting, "It's 4-1" or "It's 3-1," and by the time he'd finished typing the full thing out, the next goal had went in. So it was like on the one message it just said, "It's 4-1." Oh no, wait, it's 5-1. But no, other than that, I think the fact that we had about 75 seasons in one day.
Yeah. Snowinwell's Big Rob Jones went up and nodded it in, eh?
Aye.
Unreal.
But no, that sticks out for me, just how quick, and it was like that. I think at that point it was like we're not going to lose here, because obviously when it went to 3-1 with 13 minutes to go, could still chuck it.
I was naive back in the days. I thought, this is alright, still gonna win it. But there we go.
What was your highlight of the day, Greg?
I think it was. I don't even know. I think it was probably the cup that go back to Easter Road, to be honest. And we got there late, obviously. And I was staying at my granddad's because I had school the next day. And he was like, "Oh, we'll just go anyway. It'll be all right." So I went there. I got inside Easter Road, actually. I went to a lot of folk did, so got inside and watched them parade the cup about, which was class, to be honest. And this is one of the days that you're like, wow, this is class. Can we do this every week?
Do you reckon it won't happen this year, will it? Even if we win, COVID and that, I doubt they'll be wanting people to pile into there, because they need stewards and all that, wouldn't they, for COVID passports and all of that. So who knows?
Was there not like a major delay on it doing, or did they not have to do it another day?
People ran on the pitch or something, and so they ended up trying to do it the next home game, which just so happened to be Hearts, and we got beat. And the Hearts, there was like Hearts fans up the top end of the away stand that wouldn't leave, and they were saying they couldn't bring the players out until the Hearts fans left and stuff. So it was just a big anticlimax at that point. You just lost a derby game. It was honestly, I think by the time the players came out, a good 40 minutes after kickoff, full time as well. Jesus. Well, anyway, Harry, what was your highlight of the 2007 final?
I think that Benji's first goal was just the most trademark Benji moment of all time, where he just kind of like shimmies one way, cuts in the other, giving himself like 3 yards of space and just tucks it in the corner. He used to do it non-stop, and I loved that guy. Like, see, growing up, him and Zamama were like my boys. Like, I absolutely adored them.
They were class.
Have you watched the episode of the High B Buzz with Zamama on it?
I've no idea.
Oh, it's good. It's good. You should watch it. The what? Do you know what? Just I seen your tweet earlier. Actually, we'll keep talking about random shit here. Why not? Everyone's turned off by now anyway. So I seen your tweet about how good Benji was. So it made me, his goal record would not be accepted now. Like, no, which is mental. No, because it's mental. Like, he's so good. I remember.
Don't talk about him like that. I remember
a stat. So Mindy obviously disappeared. He went on loan for a couple of years, and he came back under Hughes. He scored a goal, and I remember hearing it. Hibs hadn't lost a game that he scored in. I don't know if it disappeared that season, but I thought that was in fact, I think it was in the 5-1 game when I was watching highlights of it. The commentator said Hibs haven't lost a game that he'd scored in. I think that's absolutely fucking mental.
Yeah, such a good start.
That is mad.
Can they play and score on Sunday?
I was going to say, if you could take one player each from that team and put them right into the starting 11 at their pomp of their Hibs career. So like, if you were taking Scott Brown at his pomp in Hibs or whatever, who would you put into the 11?
Who's 11?
In replacement of Jake Hayes?
Yeah, either one. Probably both of them, to be fair.
The thing is, I don't think Boozy's got that. Like, he was much more of a get on the ball, move it like lovely. He wouldn't really chase them down the whole game.
Right. Okay. So who would you go for?
I imagine him at the back. Oh, he just absolutely hoovers up everything. Like he would be the Christian Doige that we missed when he was injured. You know, any crosses would just be absolutely dealt with. So
I would go for Stephen Fletcher, because you could play him and Nisbet up front, and then you've got one player that's adamant it has to be on the right foot, and one player that's adamant it had to be on the left foot. So as long as we could work that out all right, then we'd be sound.
I know, that'd be something like.
Fletcher was massively underrated, I thought, as well at Hibs, to be honest. Again, his goals record probably wasn't as good as maybe what you would think, but
the season he left, he was a bit of a
letdown.
Yeah, he was a bit of a letdown. That was probably his worst season at Hibs.
The problem with Stephen Fletcher at Hibs, he lived offside, eh? Like he would be like, it's always good to be on the back shoulder, but he was so offside. I'm sure there was one stat where he had like more than double the next like closest player offside one of the seasons that he played. It was ridiculous.
Anyway, this isn't reliving 2006 to 2008 Hibs. It's the League Cup final preview that is now wrapped up, I think, boys. But I say, I don't think we'll be back next Monday. It might be next Tuesday. But we'll see. Hopefully we've all got raging hangovers that are worth it on Monday, and we will be back next week. Hopefully waxing lyrical about Hibs being the League Cup champions for 2021-22. Cheers.
Bye.